Hi everybody, my name is Des and welcome back to another album review. Today we're reviewing the latest record from Billie Eilish, entitled When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Now, I'll be honest, I've never been the biggest fan of Billie Eilish, and some of the singles leading up to this were a bit more hit or miss for me. But when I did hear the song Wish You Were Gay, I really did get excited for this, because I saw that she was really making some amazing music, at least in that moment there. And the song Bury a Friend had really grown on me since first hearing it. And I was expecting this album to be a bit of a mixed bag. I expected to have some songs that I really enjoyed, while other songs that I thought were more bland and underdeveloped. But I was really surprised to see how this was actually a really unique and interesting experience from start to finish. I really like the groovy, funky, unique bass line to the song Bad Guy. And even though it's not the deepest track lyrically, it's a really fun instrumental and a really enjoyable song. I thought Xanny was absolutely beautiful. It portrays this really great anti-drug message in a really compelling way. It has some really nice lyrical moments here and there with some pretty subtle yet interesting references, especially at one point to, I believe it's Silver Lake, which is a town that has a very hot nightlife, and a lot of times it has a great number of overdose victims. And she talks about how she doesn't want to lose someone to something that wasn't a mistake, someone who died in Silver Lake, where she doesn't want to lose someone to an overdose, to someone taking drugs. That's just a horrible way to lose someone, because it's not an accident, and it's a really painful thing that is surprisingly common. I thought it was beautifully done instrumental-wise, and I thought the effects through the chorus, even though they took a couple listens to really grow on me, I thought they were actually really well done and really beautiful in a lot of ways. You Should See Me in a Crown was a bit of a weaker moment on the album. I didn't care for it too much when I first heard it as a single, and I'm still not a huge fan. I think the verse is a bit bland, and I find the chorus's loud, aggressive nature to be a bit grating at times. It's not a horrible song, but it just doesn't do all that much to impress me. But from there we go back up a lot from All the Good Girls Go to Hell, which has just the most amazing bass line, like just something that you can't touch. You can't touch that bass line. It's so fun, it's so fresh, it's so great. I really do love it. I think it's a great bass line that really does bring the song together. And there are some nice subtle pianos at times that really do bring it all together. And I also thought there were some interesting lyrics on here, especially the line where she references God as being a female, which I like how she did this more subtly, because a lot of times, especially with being more, I guess for lack of a better term, being more politically correct or being more open to things or having a more open mind, I don't think is a bad thing at all. But I hate it when people are so direct about it, or right in your face about, I'm open-minded, I support this and I support that, look how woke and open-minded I am. I find that to be really irritating and almost fake, but I like how subtle this was, because it still provided that kind of interesting idea that I think could have a lot of depth if one takes enough time to consider that line a lot, especially in the context of the rest of the song. But it did have that nice hint of subtlety to it, because sometimes you need that touch of subtlety to just bring something together, and Billie does that really well on this track. Wish You Were Gay, I did a track review on this song, and I absolutely loved it then. I still absolutely love it now. I love the lyrics, I love the guitar, I love her vocals on here. Everything about this is so amazingly done. If you want more my opinion of it hasn't really changed a whole lot. I guess if anything, I enjoy it more than when I did the track review on it, but go check out that track review if you want to hear my more specific thoughts on that. When the Party's Over is another single that I wasn't too crazy over. It did grow on me a little bit, but I still find a lot of the instrumentals to be a bit too simple, a bit too underwhelming at times. I wish it was a bit more dense and a bit more layered. The song 8, I've seen a lot of people really disliking this song, but I actually really dig it. I can see why many people would find the childlike vocals at many times really irritating, but I think they actually contribute to the song a lot. I absolutely love the simple guitar in it, and like the do 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 do's are really beautiful through the song. I absolutely love those. But a lot of this is talking about how she hurt someone in a relationship, because so many times, especially from younger artists, we hear songs about relationships, but oftentimes it's just the basics of it, or that person breaking up with them, or you wanting to be with someone. But she takes the other side of things, where she's the one who made the mistake. And I think that's a really brave thing to do, and I think she does it really well. Again, I love the guitars in it, and I think the childlike vocals, hence why the song is called 8, on top of being the 8th track on the album, which I think is kind of quirky to an extent. Not really quirky, but just kind of interesting. It was also because I think it's from the perspective of if she was 8, where many times, especially children around that age, are very confused, don't know a whole lot about the world, and if something goes wrong, they just feel lost and don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. And I think that's the kind of emotion she's trying to bring to the table, where she realizes, even though she thought she tried her best, that she hurt someone, and it was her fault. And she doesn't know what to do about that, where to go, how she can make things right, or fix things, if she even can. And it makes her feel small and helpless, and I think those vocals really do bring that out. I actually thought this was a really great track, and again, I can understand why some might find those childlike vocals irritating, but and I honestly did at first too, but it really did grow on me quite a bit. The album towards the end really does get great. My Strange Addiction was alright. I thought the lines from the Office that were in it were a bit strange and out of place. They didn't really fit with it that well. I thought it tried a bit too hard to be strange and quirky. It was okay. I did like a lot of the groove that song had, but I think the Office samples are a bit distracting, and some of the instrumentals are a bit more forgettable, even if they are fun at times. I did enjoy the song Bury a Friend. It's really grown on me a lot since first listening to it. I like the dark, creepy atmosphere that it brings, and I just think it's a fun track. Again, I don't really like the line that is the title, "When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go?" that's stated in this song. To me, that line sounds like something you would see on r/I'm 14 and This Is Deep, but that's neither here nor there. Still a really great song, even if I didn't care for that line quite as much. I really like the dark atmosphere, and a lot of the very disturbing, edgy imagery that's presented, I think, fits the tone of the song very nicely. And it transitions actually really well into the song, I believe it's pronounced Ilomilo, which, from what I could tell, is a video game that I'm still not entirely certain how it relates to the song at hand, but it's a really smooth, simple, yet really enjoyable song. That one was definitely a standout for me on the album. I really enjoyed all of the instrumentals that went into it. I think she gives, once again, another great vocal performance, and it just makes a song that really enjoyable. And it transitions really well from Bury a Friend, which has a starkly contrasting tone to it, but I do think it transitions very well. And from there, we kind of get some more deep, emotional cuts on the album. We have Listen Before I Go and I Love You, which are very sad and somber in their tone, but I think Billie Eilish pulls it off really well. I think Listen Before I Go, you really do hear the pain in what she's saying, where this inner darkness and sadness that she's constantly fighting off, where the simple, elegant, yet depressing instrumentals complement her really somber vocal performance on here. I think she does a great job of portraying the pain that she feels. I thought it was a phenomenal track that I enjoyed quite a bit. And then there was the song I Love You, where she is in a relationship and the significant other says I love you, and that just, freaks her out, blows her mind. And it's to the point where she wishes it was a joke, where she's saying, tell me you were trying to pull a prank or make me laugh, that you didn't mean to say I love you. Where this kind of intense emotion is so foreign to her, where she's not used to receiving this kind of love and affection. as we see on many of the other cuts on here, her struggling with relationships and love and just maybe even friendships in general, where like on the tracks Wish You Were Gay and When the Party's Over and Listen Before I Go, where she's just struggling to maintain a relationship. But I did think it was a really beautiful cut that was really well done. I love many of the guitars and back instrumentals that went into it. And the album is all closed off by the song Goodbye, which I thought it was a solid song. The entire thing takes significant lines from every other track, but in reverse order. So it starts with one of the lines from I Love You, then from Listen Before I Go, all the way up to Bad Guy. And I thought it was a pretty solid song. Didn't really add a lot to the album, in my opinion. I guess it did kind of just wrap up all the ideas that were presented throughout, but didn't really do all that much to just blow me away. I thought it was solid, but nothing great. But yeah, this was a surprisingly amazing album. I wasn't expecting a lot going into it, but I was pleasantly surprised. There were more than a handful of great tracks on here, and I know people tend to see Billie Eilish as cringy or, like, oh, hashtag relatable, and I mean that in a sarcastic way, of course, but this is a really great project, and again, this is coming from someone who has never really taken a liking to her music in general beforehand. I think this was amazing. I'm feeling a solid 8 on this. Definitely be sure to check it out. Great, amazing album. Has a lot of different fun, contrasting, dark tones to it. From the light, accessible pop to some dark experimentation. Billie Eilish does a really great job through this thing. So with that being said, tell me what you thought about the album. Tell me how wrong my opinions are as always, and I'll see you in the next review.